Everybody cheers.
Cheers. Happy New Year.
Thanks for coming, everyone.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome to Mortgage Whining, where we get to whine a little bit about the mortgage industry. And for the people out there that actually want to listen to this, give them a little tidbits that can help them grow their careir and further their...
Both of you that want to listen to this.
Yeah, for all four of you out there. Five. So how's everyone doing? So today we got Michael Fischer, branch manager, Ross Mortgage in Brighton. We got Corey Roediger, Hancock Mortgage in Rochester. We got Brian Vieaux out of FinTech, technology company. And we got our friend here, Brad Stinson, out of Benchmark in Grand Rapids.
Yes, sir.
That's right. Okay, good. I'm glad I got all that right. So let's talk a little bit about 2021 and what we think it's going to bring to us and what we got to do to obviously combat 2020, because obviously 2020 was a little bit of a bizarre year.
A little bit of an anomaly.
Absolutely. We're going to start off with a real simple question I think a lot of loan officers are asking themselves, and I think a lot of loan officers in January are working on, and that is what does growth look like in 2021 versus 2020? And what I mean by that is, I was talking about it backstage, is that, you know, I guess we just can't sit there and answer the phone, right? We got to do a little more, you know? So 2020 was a blessed year. I believe anybody in the industry would say that, considering what a lot of other people felt and dealt. But it was a good year for us. So, Corey, we'll start with you. We'll put you on the spot, bud.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me.
How does 2021 look compared to 2020 when it comes to growing your business?
I think team building is going to be a big part of it. I know my plan is to add some folks that not only can do, you know, some of the back office ops, you know, parts of the industry and job, but I think it's important for them to be selling as well. I think when I hire anybody, I think my first order of business, believe it or not, is going to make sure that they are savvy with social media, because when we bring people on the team, obviously that costs money for us to add people, and we're going to need to do more business as we add people. And I think the best way to bring in more business is to make sure that they are, you know, talking about the business openly, sharing what they do, because that's the number one rule in sales. So I think team building and making sure that anybody you bring on is selling to add more volume to your business is going to be important.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I mean, obviously the three of you are branch managers, and Brian obviously with a big technology company. But that's kind of from a 10,000 feet perspective that we have over at Ross, is that we're not going to grow without growing our team. I mean, it's just one of those things where, do we believe that there's going to be loan officers that do better in 2021 and 2020? Of course, there always are, right? But for the most part, Ross Mortgage and most loan officers have stuck to what the MBA says, right? If the MBA says you're going down 25%, for the most part, you're going to go down 25%. That's your budget, right? So you got to grow that team in order to keep your numbers where they are. Mike, what are you thinking?
You know, I think I watch a lot of LOs on a daily basis. One thing that I see is that when things are going well, they kind of quit planning. And even the simple stuff of just pulling out a spreadsheet or paper, if you will, and writing down what the next few months look like. I have some good friends, some guys I know really well, next level LOs, that talk about seasons. You got kind of different seasons in the business, and you know, the next 3 months or the next 6 months, however you want to divide it, could be 2 weeks. But I think it's really important that you address that season that you're in or that season that you're headed into, and write down what you're really going to do. Like, what's most important. Put number one up on top of that list. You better get number one done.
Right.
Beyond that, if you get nothing else done, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of loan officers, they don't even have a number one. Like, what's most important to me right now, to be working not just, you know, in my business, but on my business.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, so, you know, like for me, number one was I got to write, like, right up on top of my list that everybody at my table eats. Everybody on my team has got to be doing well, and they got to be happy where they're at. And if I'm not doing that, I'm taking my eyes off the ball. So all the other stuff that comes after that, we talk about ad nauseum in social media groups and podcasts like this. But, you know, for me, for the next season, I got to make sure that as we transition, everybody on my team knows which direction that we're going and is able to do their job efficiently and effectively and continue to grow just like us.
It's awesome. That brings out a quote I heard from Dan Gilbert, and I won't quote it because I don't know it exactly, but it's similar, right? Dan, and we all know he did pretty good, right? I think he did pretty good. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did pretty good. But one of his big things back in the early 90s was, I need everyone on my team to rock. Everyone on my, financially. That's all he cared about. Yep. Is he needs them to rock financially and see their next target, see their next target. And that seemed to work out pretty well for him. So that's a pretty good number one there, Mike. Brad, how you going to grow in 2021, buddy?
2020 was a quagmire, wasn't it? For 8 months, I think. I mean, it was just cramming everything in that you possibly could, right? So I think 2021, I'm going to try to dial in and get back to the basics of things. You kind of lose a personal touch when you start hitting your limits. Like my July was absolutely insane. I never want to do that again unless I expand my team. But I brought a production partner on in March, like the worst time ever to bring a production partner on. Who would have thought that 2.5 weeks later, the mortgage market did what it did? But I need to dial in the process with her, get back to the basics, because the basics carry you through.
Got it.
You build your foundation, and that's going to carry you through anything.
I consider us like the students, We're here in Michigan, and I don't know how other states people are watching, but, our students, they weren't in school since March, basically, most of them, right?
They need to go back.
I know. Well, my kids went back today. So my kids went back today. And thank you.
I know why you're drinking.
Yeah, that's why I'm, cheers.
Cheers, the kids going back to school. All right.
And that is a good catch. But yeah, no, I mean, it was funny this morning, like I have these 4 little shorties, right? And I mean, they are just cross-eyed. They don't know what to do. I mean, I don't think they've been out of bed before 8 since last March. I mean, they're just a mess, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, my loan officers are cross-eyed. Yeah. Right? I mean, they have literally come off pennies from heaven for 10 straight months, including myself. I still originate. It was pennies from heaven, right? And now all of a sudden it's like, I got them calling me up going, hey, my pipeline's low. I got to figure out this. I got to figure out that. It's like, we're all going back to school. Yeah. It's time to go back to school.
Back to basics. Don't forget what brought you here.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's tough to change back.
What made those agents call you? Yeah. Or the clients call you? Don't forget about that.
You know when it happens? When nobody closes anything in February. That's right. I'll be like, wait a minute, what just happened? What happened?
February's looking a little thinner.
Right. What happened? Brian, from the technology aspect, what do you think?
So first of all, for all the LOs that are watching, listening, and for you guys, you can thank me for this run. So I left the mortgage production business 18 months ago to take a flyer in technology and join Finlocker. What we're focused on and what we see is really filling the funnel, filling the top of the funnel, right? So whatever's going to happen is going to happen in January, February, and March, right? Rates are where they are. You're going to get the business that's going to come in due to rates. What are you doing to grow for the next 6 to 18 months? How are you building the funnel of next year's first-time home buyers, right? There's strategies to go out and get in front of those people and find technology, find tools that you can use to leverage the high-touch relationship selling with technology, right? So we're really focused on helping people really build that funnel and building next year's first-time home buyers. So I think that's awesome. That's something that people have got to focus on, because we're not going to see volume in 21 that we saw in 20. And just because I said that, you can thank me again. You probably will see it.
Well, no, it's so true though. It's so true. Realtor.com confirmed this, years ago, about the 9-month incubation period. And I mean, at the end of the day, buying a house is an impulse buy. Yeah. Nobody wakes up on a Tuesday and says, I think I'm going to buy a house today. I mean, they might wake up and say, I'm going to buy a couch, but not a house. Right. I mean, so it's something that you got to get in front of them. Yeah, you got to get in front of them when they start thinking about it.
9 o'clock on a Sunday.
Right. When the garage door breaks, I'm getting a new house.
Yeah. I'm not fixing the door. I'm going to
Absolutely.
buy brand new.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about branding. Let's talk about how we do that. In 2021, it's really important to get back to the basics and figure out ways where you can differentiate yourself. So the next question would be, how do you build a brand that stands for knowledge and advocacy and a smooth process? And I'm going to let Brad, because he's chomping at the bit on this one, so is Mike. I'm going to let Brad start us off here. So it can be any brand, but you can talk about a certain brand if you'd like.
There's, in our world, people talk the talk.
Mm-hmm.
They very rarely walk the walk. Mm-hmm. You have to use the tools that are, free and available to you. Facebook Fish, right? I mean, Facebook, all these platforms have a massive reach, and they're all free, but it takes a little bit of action on our part. Mm-hmm. I can honestly tell you that all actions that I have taken since I started as a loan officer in March of 2017 have propelled me years upon my actual loan officer age. You know, the knowledge base that I have in regards to VA home loans is pretty insane, and it's because of like all the videos that I do. It makes me deep dive into the guidelines, and oddly enough, it just happens to come back up a couple days later when you're in a heated battle over something stupid like my girlfriend cannot go on my VA home loan. You know,
Right.
contrary to what you think,
Right.
Chapter 7 of the VA Lender Handbook states, because I just did a video on it. You know?
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible the power of that. So, you know, perfection paralysis is a big thing. You got to get over that.
I like
You
that.
have to be willing to fail to grow.
Yeah.
I fail all the time, right? And I love it.
Well, you bring up a good point with social media too, because I think the one thing that social media, at least for me, it forces me to do when I do videos on social media is I better be right. You know what I mean? Like we've all stood in front of those. Yeah, exactly. We've all stood in front of those 13 agents, you know, who really don't know what the hell we're talking about. And there's been times where we think we're right and we've thrown it out there and we'll deal with it later. You can't do that on social media.
No.
You have to be right. You have to be right. And the one common thread, and obviously, you know, Mike and Brad are big VA guys, and you know, the one common thread from really good loan officers that I've always seen, I've never seen, you know, this rock star, amazing loan officer, and his niche was conventional financing. It just doesn't happen, you know. I mean, like everybody's got what they're really good at, and it brings on everything else, you know. So I mean, I think that's really important.
One of the things that I realized early in my career was what sets me apart. What makes me different? I mean, I'm a brand new loan officer trying to earn business here. What's going to make this agent trust me with their paycheck? And then it dawned on me, what value do I bring them? Well, here it is. Well, now I got to prove it because, you know, I'm not getting any business. How am I going to prove that I'm the VA guy? All right? Put up or shut up.
Absolutely.
Right? So I start recording videos. Next thing you know, I'm teaching classes and I'm standing in front of agents telling them that I'm a VA home loan specialist without ever originating a VA home loan. I mean, that took a lot of guts. You know, but I didn't know what I didn't know.
I was standing behind you in case you.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah. You know, and you know,
you made it.
Without
It worked out.
people like Fish and other guys on my team to really help me throughout the process, because I mean, they've gone before me and they've made these mistakes. Hey, you're going to want to avoid that, or you're going to want to do this. And, you know, like those guys will never give me wrong advice. So I'm always, dude, bring it on. Be brutal. Be brutal with me. Come on. Now, the person on the outside looking in, the haters are going to hate, man. Use their hate as fuel. You know, prove to them that you can do it by doing it the way that they said couldn't be done. I love it. It's my driving force. It's what I pull on when I get really tired. I got haters. I got to prove wrong.
I like it. Brian, tell me something. How do you niche in technology? Because that's got to be hard, right?
It's very hard.
Yeah.
I'll start by saying, again, I left the lending side of the business and I've spent the last 18 months watching you guys all succeed and do things that are really unique in your markets. And I think what's been super cool is watching hyper-local loan officers become these big names and big brands on social media, right? Without all this fancy equipment, right? It's usually a phone and a microphone. So I think, to your point, it's just do it, right? Just get out there and do something, and if it doesn't work, do something else and keep doing something else. And for us on the technology side, it's an ever-evolving business, right? Everyone's racing to have the next shiny object, and so we just kind of try to focus on what we set out to do, which is help first-time home buyers be mortgage ready, and that's our North Star, and we're just focused on that, and we do everything we can to make our clients, our loan officers, look good with our technology. So
Yeah, I mean, you guys over at FinTech, you guys are awesome. But the one thing I tell every technology person, I mean, I tell my LOS company, you name it, I tell them all. I'm like, you know what? I would take half the bullshit if it just works, right?
Just make it
like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, it just seems like there. You know what I mean? It just seems like with technology and fintech clearly does not do this, but it just seems like so many technology guys, they want to like, they take the silver, like they don't understand that for us.
Shiny red ball.
But for us, anything's shiny, right? It could be anything, right? And they try to expand it so much and get out of their lane and try to expand it so much. And then the one simple thing you wanted them for doesn't work. Right. And it's like, I don't want any of this other crap. I just want this to work.
Do the same thing with their customers.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
100%. Keep it simple.
Facebook is a prime example of this. I mean, how many times have you logged into the app and you're like, what in the hell? They switched everything around. Right. What is this Rooms crap? You know, and then 3 days later, it's all gone. Right. Because they realized it was a big mistake. Right? You know, it's like, come on. Sure. Everybody's chasing all the new objects. They want the easy button. No, you have to put in the work to build a brand. There no such thing as easy button. You have to take the journey. You have to take the lashings, whatever you want to call it, to get to where you want to be.
If it was easy, no one would be special. If it was easy, no one would be special. Corey, what's going on, man? So what type of branding differentiates yourself?
You can't build a brand that is going to differentiate yourself just with the brand itself. I think, that worked a lot better, I think, in years past. We grew up in the whole TV generation. Someone was on TV. Oh, my God, they must be just, wow, they're on TV. Same thing with, whether it was newscasters, whatever. We looked up to those people, right? Oh, they're on TV. They must be good. Same thing with commercials. But you have, like you touched on it, Brad, quite a bit. You got to get your message across now, especially with loan officers. We went through the crash. People lost trust with us. In a big way. And that still carries over a little bit to this day. So I just think social media and educating people, and getting your message across that, you can fix people's problems. You can, here's a little tidbit I'm going to give you today, et cetera, about how I can make your life easier and how you can trust me. Telling stories, I think, for loan officers is big on social media. Hey, man, it was a great day today. I helped a single mom get into a house. She wasn't sure about her credit. I helped her work with a credit specialist, so now her and her daughter can, live in the house of their dreams. And, you have to get your message across, and you have to be sincere about it, because just having a brand and a name, I don't think it does as much anymore for anybody.
Authenticity and
vulnerability. So I think just talking about what you do and showing people that you know what you do is the most important thing.
Well, that's awesome too. And then also, you mentioned it too, is simplifying it, right? Absolutely. I mean, these guys. I mean, it's real simple. I have a couch. I have a bed. I need to put it somewhere.
Especially,
and we make this simple thing sometimes so overcomplicated when you talk about just the emotion, right? Absolutely. The emotion is, I need a place to live.
Yeah, sure.
That's their emotion. Our emotion is like, oh my gosh, I don't know if your income's good. I don't know if your credit's good. I don't know how to document that $10,000 under your mattress. Like, there's 5,000 things we put into this thing, and they're just going over there. They don't know anything we're talking about, and they're just sitting there. Hey man, I just need a place to live.
That's a great point.
And I think we got to get the message across too, because guys like Brad and I, we have tattoos. We're a little rough around the edges. The image. What? The image, we don't wear suits, right? We don't wear suits, so the image
I didn't get the memo.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Brian.
We had a 20-minute pre-podcast discussion on language.
Well, the image isn't there, so you have to get your image you have to get your image across with your knowledge, because the image isn't there for guys like me or girls. There's people that are in this business that are really good at what they do, but they don't have the suit and tie image that certain people are looking for, the CPA look, et cetera.
I think a lot of loan officers struggle with the mindset of, if I relax a little bit, they're going to think differently of me.
Oh yeah.
Right. If I don't know the answer to the question, they're going to go elsewhere. Whatever it may be.
It depends on your audience too. Right? Who are you trying to sell to? Who are you trying to sell to?
So, as loan officers, you have to dumb it down, and then dumb it down again. Army style, it is what I call it. Mm-hmm. Right? You have to go 3 steps down from our level of thinking, because average Joe Schmo on the street doesn't know anything. Absolutely. And you don't want to overwhelm them, because they're already overwhelmed.
Yeah. And I think you bring up a really good point too, because it's the audience. right? I mean,
Yeah.
what are you trying to do, right? So
If you're trying to sell the engineers, you better wear a suit. And,
Right.
You better have the details down to a
I'll
science.
get to that after Fish. So Fish, what do you got? So brand, knowledge, advocacy, smooth process. How do you make that happen?
Man,
and let everyone know.
Yeah, I mean, these guys threw out some great ideas. So, like, I just want to repeat their ideas. But, Brad and I and Corey and I have talked about this stuff for years now. And I think if you're trying to build a brand, to me, that concept Corey threw out of being authentic, if I want to be authentic, I want my brand to stand for something that really means more to the consumer. Like, I want to be maybe not the best at something, but so good that somebody says, like, that guy really knows what he's talking about. Mm-hmm. He's an authority, if you will. Mm-hmm. And so I ask myself, how can I become an authority? And I know from reading books and listening to my friends and all that kind of stuff, to really master something, you got to be able to teach it.
Yeah.
You got to be able to talk about it at the drop. It just, you throw a question at me, I better be able to have a conversation with you. Mm-hmm. So I find sometimes loan officers are uncomfortable talking about some of the basic things in our industry. Case in point, we invite people to come on these podcasts or jump on cameras in fancy studios like this, and they want scripts.
Yeah.
We're like, wait a second, guys. This is what you do all day,
right,
every day. You should be able to talk about it without a bunch of scripts. Just a couple quick questions.
Depends
this
what
is
kind
what
of
we're
scripts.
going to talk
Like the
about.
scripts that come in a bottle, that's a little
right,
different.
Right. Well, it's being an actor, right? Like if you wanted me to come on here and talk about medicine, give me a script.
Yeah.
If I need a script for mortgages,
you're in the wrong.
I clearly have faked my way a really far way.
You think you know math until you try to teach a third grader math.
Right.
That's the same concept.
Right.
So I know that loan officers, for example, like Brad, newer in his career, a few years back, would come to somebody who pretends they're a leader like me and say, like, hey, what do I do next? And I'd say, well, Brad, you got to get comfortable talking about this stuff. Well, Fish, how am I going to do that? Okay, Brad, how about we get you uncomfortable in a comfortable setting? Mm-hmm. So here's your comfortable setting. It's a camera that's not live, that you can edit and delete and throw away, and I'll help you. Just push play and start talking about relevant things to, in your case, the VA home loan.
Good God, I hated that.
It was horrible.
I mean, but now it's to the point where if there's anybody in the room, I freeze.
Yeah.
Like, I can talk all day long to myself and the camera, and I'm fine.
But it's your commitment to learn.
Exactly.
It's your commitment to learn. I mean, I did it in 2012 with renovation loans, right? 2010 happened. We didn't know what was happening with the mortgage industry. I had people coming in saying, hey, it's all over, pack up, you're gone, da-da-da-da. And I stayed with the same company the whole time, and I said, well, something's got to change, right? So we find this problem, and that is that we couldn't finance any homes because they were all winterized and destroyed up here in Michigan, right? So we're like, all right, well, let's do these renovation loans. Detroit, yeah, right? Yeah, right. So my very first, just like you with your VA, my very first speech to a bunch of realtors, I mean, I'm talking like 50 because they needed to figure it out too, right? They couldn't sell any homes either. I didn't have a clue. I read the B of A guidelines to a 203K loan. I mean, I could have had this computer here with the guidelines and I would have just been scrolling up, reading the Yep.
But
we can do that. But my commitment to learn it. I knew by the time they called me, I actually would have known all that stuff. You know what I mean? So it's the commitment to learn it. You can't just fake it till you make it. I hate that phrase, but you can commit to learning it, and you can talk about it first.
It's not only just going over the guidelines; it's interpreting the guidelines so that everybody can understand.
Yeah.
I mean, I could stand up there and page and verse. The VA Lender Handbook. Oh, that's going to go over like a lead balloon.
Yeah.
Right? But you have to customize it. You have to personalize it, and you have to deliver it in a way that everybody's going to understand it.
100%.
And that's where these videos come from. That's where teaching these classes come from. And then you weave in stories.
Well, and then you get good and you can go back to listening to them. I mean, I've done that. I've gone back to a PowerPoint I've done 10 years ago to be like, okay, I remember that, because I mean, you forget to do them. I mean, the bottom line is, go ahead, Mike.
No, I was going to say, so like at a higher level, whether you decide to make videos on social media and do YouTube or teach classes or literally just dial the phone and talk to your clients, the concept is actually all the same. And that's what a lot of loan officers just don't seem to understand. Mm-hmm. They sit there and fight about the method of delivery on the message. Mm-hmm. Well, I should send emails. Well, I should make videos. Well, I should call my past clients.
Just do something.
Just do something. Yeah, exactly, Brian. Just do something.
Better than no action.
Here's what I think is important. And Corey nailed it. let's be authentic. Have you actually giving the message? So maybe you type the email and not a perfect example. I had a realtor hit me up yesterday because he got a message from one of these famous CRM companies. He got 9 messages from 9 different loan officers all around the state of Michigan. But do you know who he called with the question? He called me because he knows that I'm the one that addresses that specific question authentically on social media with my conversations, with the paragraphs I type, with the videos I put. I'm comfortable talking about it. I'm prepared to answer anything that comes along, whether it's on social media or face-to-face in a class or on a phone call.
For sure. So you're kind of putting all this in a bottle and wrapping it up, and that is be an expert. If you're gonna niche anything or you're gonna brand anything, be an expert.
I wouldn't say expert, just because that means you know everything and you're setting yourself up to fail, right? I mean, the minute I hear that, I'm like, okay, what's this? I start testing them, right? Specialize in it.
Yeah, but you're nuts.
Yeah. But I mean, it happens to agents. If you're getting out there and you're talking to agents, and I know everything about the VA home loan. They're like, so what?
You can bury yourself.
Right?
Bury yourself.
Right. So specialize in it or use different words. That's just avoid the word expert.
For sure. And then also know your demographics too. Yep. I mean, it's really important, man. I mean, I've had so many people decide they're going to niche, right? And then, they get this guy who's buying like a turnkey home, and they try to sell him a renovation loan. Like, what are you doing? Like, you gotta know your demographics, and you gotta be a specialist, because there's always room to grow as a specialist.
Thank you, Tim.
No problem, Brad. And be a specialist in what you're doing, and you cringe at expert. I cringe at fake it till you make it. That makes me want to just go crazy. Right. So don't say that. It's not a good thing. You will get caught. You will. If you're doing it, keep it to yourself and just continue to learn and become a specialist.
Exactly.
Absolutely. All right. So Brian, this is right up your alley.
All right.
So a lot of us, not Brad or myself, but or Ross Mortgage. No, I'm just kidding. We all were in some facet, and more importantly, our customers were. We were forced in 2020, to do advanced technology.
Right.
Now, a lot of us, and don't take that the wrong way, a lot of us weren't, right? I mean, Ross Mortgage did Zoom. We had a Zoom camera 4 years ago, right? Tell you we didn't use it as well as we did in 2020, but we had it, right? It was there and we knew how to do it. But I don't care about, this question isn't for us. This question is for our clients, right? This question is there for the people who we're incubating in your system, and for the people you guys are incubating in your database. They were forced technology. I always said the last refi boom I did, we had an online app, right? And I still met 50 or 60 people. I met with 2 people last year. I think I don't know how many loans I did, but it was a lot. And I met with 2 people. That's it. Yeah. So I don't care about us. I care more about our clients. So they were forced to do advanced technology. And my thing that I finally succumbed to, because I was the guy that was like, oh no, this pandemic will wait, it will go away and we'll all be like we were in January 2020. It'll all go back to normal. Just everyone calm down. We just got to get some vaccines and all this stuff. And I still believe that we will go back, but it by no means will be the same,
I agree.
Right. So so my question is, we were forced to, our customers were forced into this new technology. How do we compete as small independent mortgage bankers like we all are, and a small an independent technology company? How do we compete with the big guys?
Right.
How do you compete with Credit Karma? How do I compete with Rocket? You know what I mean? Because they've been doing this forever, and the only thing that's been stopping them is everybody else still wanted to be like, well, I want to go talk to Corey.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go talk to Corey, and I know I can get Rocket, but I want to talk to Corey. Well, that person for 9 months hasn't had to go talk to Corey. So how do we get that person now? So I'll leave it to you.
I love that question. And first of all, I'd say, how many people talk to their grandmother on Zoom at Christmas? I mean, grandma had to figure out how to communicate with her family, right?
Absolutely.
So we're an amazing species. We can adapt and overcome, right?
Am I going to be the first one to pour new one?
Here's
it's like
what I would
5 o'clock. I just want everyone to know.
Yeah, this is Saturday evening. The way I think about, technology and what you all do, kind of mano a mano, right? Maybe not face to face right now, but you're still engaging with people on the phone, via text, via emails. It's still a very personal relationship-focused business. I think now it's to compete with those big brands that you described. It's how do you bring high-tech, as much high-tech functionality to a consumer as possible, and layer on top of that the relationship, the personal experience, right? Because not everybody can go into an app and go from A to Z and close a loan without talking to a loan officer. In fact, very few people can really do that, right? Maybe someone that's buying their third home, they've done this a million times. They've got all their stuff. They're a W-2 salary employee. There's no funny, nothing going on with their finances. It's cookie cutter, right? By the way, they're not the niche. No. Everybody else, the other 80% of the consumers, they want to use the technology, and they had to use it in 2020, but they want to call you. When they have a problem, they don't want to wait in a queue. They want to text you and get a call back and get help right now.
That's what's going to save our business too.
Sometimes it's so easy it's hard.
Yeah.
And it's confusing. Like, what is it? Because again, overwhelming process.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think.
Why do you need this? Why do you need this? I don't know why we need to verify 5 ways of how much money you make. I don't know, but I need them.
But we do. But we do. But we do. Go ahead.
Luckily, some loan officers lean so heavily on that technology that they're really easy to compete against. Just with classic selling, I find just asking better questions gets the consumer on the phone with you.
Or just a rapport.
Oh yeah, in many cases I'll be talking to someone, whether it's a vet or another client, and I'll just ask them quite simply, have the other lenders that you talk to explained how much money you would need to close, or how all those things play together?
Or did they just throw out 2 1/4?
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, how about we talk about it? I'll break it down for you. I'll show it to you exactly on screen. Let's set up another call. Get your husband. We'll do a quick Zoom. Bam. Yeah. So simple.
Tim, I have 2 1/4 today for 4 points. If you're looking for a loan, I got you.
I appreciate it.
I wasn't going to tell you about the points till later, but
if you could surprise me at the end with that, I'd really appreciate it.
yeah, that never happens. Come on.
You get to know them on a personal level. How the kid's doing. How's everything going with this or that? It really goes a long way. And I always tell Fish, if I get in a battle between rates, I lost. Right? I mean, I have very good rates, but I'm not doing something right. So I never have
because you
rate
get angry.
battles.
Why are you shopping me?
No, I don't. Okay, if it's a better deal, go with them. But I want to talk it through with you. So at the end of the day, I make sure I give them all the information I possibly can. So it's on them to choose it, right? So
the resurgence of email too. Like we just signed on a corporate CRM, and our email open rate now is through the roof. And I'm telling you, pre-COVID, we'd send out 35,000 emails and 1,000 would get opened. And now all of a sudden, because you're forced on your computer, you're forced to open these things, you don't like to see that you have that many unread messages. I mean, you just open them, you know?
That's true.
I've always used the line of, this is a low frequency, high risk. This is the lowest frequency, highest risk thing you'll ever buy. Right. Why would you not want me to walk you all the way to the closing table? And that's always kind of what I've done. But I think whoever said, and I apologize who didn't say, I think you said it's blending the technology with the personal touch.
Well, it's got to be user friendly.
Yeah,
too.
For sure. Corey, what do you got about this?
I mean, user friendliness to me is the biggest thing. If you're going to use technology and you're going to try to walk somebody through, because let's face it, I mean, we're all taking a lot of applications, et cetera, and one of the things, again, I talked about this a little bit earlier, but my team, as it grows, I'm going to add more people, even if I don't think I can afford it, and then those people are going to be able to go out and touch their network to get more business in. But the whole end result of that is more people to make the process smoother. Like, we're going to do way more for you than what you have to do. Initially, we're going to give you this user-friendly system, maybe to upload docs. If it doesn't work for you, fine, just email them to. I'll come pick them up from it. You still have to be able to do some of the legwork, but you got to judge from each client what is going to be the most user-friendly process for them.
And if you have a good CRM, it could be a third member of your team, or another member if you use it correctly. It's only as good as the data you put in, right?
Absolutely.
So our industry, the more work you put in up front, the more it pays off in the long run, right? So
There's a big difference between a boomer and a millennial when it comes to
Correct.
what needs to be done up front, in the process.
Absolutely.
And I think it's so exciting too, because I remember 4 or 5 years ago, everyone talking about the millennials, and it's like, hey, in 4 or 5 years, like they're going to start buying houses. That's just how, that's just what the surveys say. So it's just another fun time to be in the industry, right? Because now we have this whole generation
of screenshots
that have selfies. We have this whole generation of people who have waited, right? And we've complained about it. We've complained about it, and it's like, stop complaining. This is we waited for this. This is going to be great. And if you're not in front of them, if you're not in Instagram, I saw this statistic this morning when we were going with our PR company, and they said that, now this is a little too young for this, but still I was astounded by this. 83%. Wrap your brain around that. 83% of 18 to 24-year-old kids in America are on Instagram. 83%. That's like all of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's insane, man. That's insane. So now
That might not be your borrower right now, but that's your pipeline. That's your
what I'm
future
saying.
pipeline.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. So now you take it from 25 to 32, it's like 76. I mean, it doesn't drop off that
And they're just
much.
more technologically savvy as they come up.
Right. I
you
mean,
know?
when I heard that, I asked the guy. I stopped him. I was like, hey, can you? Did you just say 80? Whatever the heck you just said? And he's like, yeah. I'm like,
But that's today. What's the next?
Oh my
Instagram?
gosh.
What is the next thing coming down?
I saw the coolest picture, and I'll never forget it. This was like 2 years ago. So call it 2013 to 2018, and it was a picture of the Vatican, and it was the picture. So there's a picture of the Vatican in 2013. There's a picture of thousands of people in front of the Vatican because the Pope was going to come out and bless them, for all I know, right? And they're all like this. Right? And they're just like in awe of the fact that the Pope's coming, right? And then in 5 years later, just 5 years later, what do you think it all looked like? There's the thousands of people like this.
Go to a
man.
concert.
There's
Well,
thousands
when we
of
can go
people
back
like
to
this.
concerts, that's all you'll see. Like everyone's blocking my view just because.
Right.
No one's
I mean,
they're not even in the moment
it's
anymore.
It's just insane.
Go to the dinner
needs to be
table.
recorded. Right.
Take a deep dive into all the stats on all these platforms. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Why aren't we? Why aren't you using them? They're free.
They're free. So you have the same technology
Well,
that the biggest brands have. Just use it.
It's like being on TV, but it's free.
Yeah.
You have the ability to do that.
And nobody's
And
watching
I have
TV.
no makeup.
Right? Nobody's watching TV
You don't need
anymore.
anybody. You don't need that.
Everyone's bringing up a great point, though, for loan officers. I mean, like I talked to a lot of loan officers. I've lost track of the average age of loan officers, but I know it's up there. And some of them are still afraid to learn how to communicate like cell phone basics. So our audience is at different levels of using technology. We have to understand where our consumer, that day that's in front of us is at. Are they a millennial? Are they older? Where are they at? And we have to learn some basic things. Like, hey, there's this app. It's called Genius Scan. This is how you're going to take this picture and send it to me. That last picture didn't work. Don't be afraid. I send you this little link. Press this button. This will work. And that will endear you to the consumer, in some cases, way more than you knowing everything there is to know about conventional
take
loans.
that extra step to help them out.
Yeah.
Take that extra little.
Speaking
Personal
about
touch.
speaking about being afraid to be on social media, it cracks me up. That's the best line I've ever heard. I think we know Megan Anderson, and I've watched her speak once, and it was the best line I've ever heard. She said, "If you're afraid to do a video and put it on social media, you shouldn't leave your house."
Exactly.
I mean, that's what she said. She's like, what are you so afraid of because there's a camera involved? I mean, you leave your house every day. You let millions of people see you every single day. What is the problem with popping on a camera and
You look
doing a
like
video?
what you look like.
And I'm telling you, man, I wasn't good at. I don't even know if I am now, but I'm saying I was afraid before I heard that speech. I heard that speech. It was like 3 years ago in Orlando. I heard that speech and I was like, oh my, I'm so stupid.
Everybody
dude. I
that
go
knows
out
you
all
already
the
knows what you
time,
look
man.
like.
It's like, what
What's the
difference
worst
does
thing
it
they
make?
can do? They're going to skip past you.
Right,
Big deal.
exactly.
And you
Who
won't even know
cares?
it.
Exactly.
I can't even
Nobody
tell.
skips past me, Brian.
I can't even tell you how many loan officers reach out to me and they're like, "How in the world are you doing this?" And I tell them it's because of the videos. Do the damn videos.
Yep,
Sorry,
100%.
that we're an hour in. I just
No,
said
we
damn.
say that all the time. Make
So,
the video.
You
but,
say damn?
Yeah, I just said damn. I'm sorry.
I think I said shit. Let's start
But yeah, start over.
Start over.
I deal with it. He's got to deal with it way more. Fischer does. what do I got to do for these videos? I want a script. I want a whole roadmap. This, that, the other. It's like, no, dude, no.
I will give you a list of questions. How's that sound?
Exactly.
My video list is not drawn out, scripted, nothing like that. My week dictates what a video is going to be.
Sure.
Right? So exactly. So
Sure.
on Facebook, you see all these posts all the time in these groups about random questions about the VA home loan. If I see it more than once, guess what I'm doing?
Yeah, no,
I'm shooting a video, sharing it in that group.
Absolutely.
Brad, do you remember when I asked your company owner about 2 or 3 years ago what he thought about scripts? And he actually owned a scripting training program for the mortgage industry. And I said, like, hey, should these things all be written out? And he basically looked at me straight in the eyes. He goes, no, you got to know what you're talking about. You should write your own scripts.
Right.
I mean, the point I'm trying to make is people are so terrified to look vulnerable on camera. That's what's holding them up. Perfection paralysis. You got to get over it, man. I mean, your first video is going to suck.
Imperfect action's a lot better than perfect inaction.
Any action you take is better than no action at all. But you can go look up my first video. It was terrible, Ricky Bobby style. Didn't know what to do with my hands. Audio sucked. I mean, everything sucked. But I did it and I posted it. And guess what happened?
You got hits.
The troops rallied behind me and gave me just a little bit of confidence to get me over the bump. And boom. That's all I needed.
I got a branch manager down in Kentucky, Matthew Stevens. This guy is the man. He doesn't, I don't even know if he does normal posts anymore. It's all videos, man. It's just all videos. And it's one of those things where the more you get yourself out there, the more comfortable you'll get. People can tell you're more comfortable. They'll relate to you more, and they'll want to contact you more. All right, this is where I throw you guys curveballs because it's way too easy to give you guys a bunch of mortgage questions. Mike, what do you like to do when you're not selling, bud?
Oh, man. I think as soon as we finish this podcast, I'm going to show you. We're going to go straight over to the Golf Dome, and I'm going to show you how to game the simulator system to shoot a score lower than you ever thought was possible.
Perfect. Corey, what do you like to do when you're not selling, man?
I'm an insatiable reader. Depending on the time of year, absolutely golf is a big one. I got 2 young kids, so I just started skiing this year with my 2 young boys. Took me way out of my comfort zone, but I'm so glad I did that.
You realize how old you are?
Absolutely.
Oh
my God.
Falling hurts, brother.
So,
Falling hurts.
In the summer and the spring and fall, I mean, it's cooking for my friends and family. It's having, especially after COVID, I mean, the parties are going to be endless,
Don't you share all your recipes on your website, too?
Absolutely. I've got recipes on the website. Roadhouse.com. You guys can edit that out if you want me dropping.
We're not going to edit that out. I've made recipes from there.
No, I like to just have fun. I like, boating and, I got a pool at the house, so we love swimming. In the wintertime, now it's skiing and obviously golf. Joined a club this year so I can golf even more. So excited about that.
Attaboy.
Golf sounds good.
Yeah.
That's I never play enough, but definitely enjoy it. Reading as well, learning. Especially in the last year and a half, just learning about a new industry.
How long were you in the mortgage industry before you switched?
28 years, man.
And you go to a technology company.
Yeah, totally.
Got some brass balls, my friend, jumping
You
out.
don't look that old for being 28 years in the
He
mortgage
started
industry.
when he was 5. Leave him alone.
Yeah, just enjoying the outdoors in Michigan, right? And
awesome.
I have an oldest son who's a professional baseball player, so we try to go travel around and see him play.
You stole my thunder. I was going to say that.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say that. I love his story. His son's a hell of a baller. Is he on Pittsburgh now?
He's AAA, so
That's awesome.
he's close.
Wow, that's awesome.
COVID kind of hurt him last year.
Sure,
like
sure,
all the
sure,
guys, but
sure.
So.
That's awesome.
No minor leagues. That hurt me too.
Yeah.
Well, because we have a minor league team in our town.
Yeah.
So it's a cheap, easy kid entertainment night.
Caps, the white caps.
Yeah. I mean, you pay $10 and you go in. There's a bounce house. There's a playground. There's
hot dogs.
There's craft. There's crash. There's a whole bunch of kid-friendly things to do and fireworks and.
Yeah, we have that Utica team too out here, and it's fun.
Oh yeah,
it's not AAA,
Jimmy
but
John's
it's,
Field.
yeah.
UWM owns that team, don't they?
I believe so
I
now.
think they
Yeah.
do.
I think they sponsor the league.
Sponsor them or
Yeah.
something like that.
So, Tim, what do you like to do when you're not doing more Disney podcasts?
I have 4 kids, so I mean, honestly, I like being a dad cab. Big fan of being a dad cab. No, I mean, when I'm not with my kids and I'm not selling mortgages, I have 2 seasons and I have 2 loves. I have golf and snowboarding. Those are my 2 favorite things to do. Perfect. You know, I'm the guy who started snowboarding with only like 4 places will let you do it. And I've never skied, so I don't even know how to ski. But golfing has always been something that I've really enjoyed. And yeah, I mean.
What's your preferred venue for the snowboarding?
What do you mean? Where do I like to snowboard the best?
Correct.
Park City.
Okay.
Utah.
What about local?
Local? Highlands. I think Boyne Highlands is probably
It's
one
not
of the
really
better
local
ones.
to you.
Yeah, local around here, Brighton.
Yeah.
Brighton's good. I think.
Yeah, we have
Brighton's really
Pine
good.
Knob, which is it's a good
Pine
one.
Knob's great.
It's a
I
good
mean,
one.
I take my kids to Pine Knob all the time, man. I don't mind Pine Knob at all. I mean, I love it all, man. I just honestly
hit me up. We have to do that sometime.
anytime, man. I love doing it.
We went to Mount Bohemia one year, randomly.
Mount Bohemia.
Yeah. So
Where's that at?
We
The end
heard
of the earth.
we so I was 19, college spring break. Instead of going south, we went north, and we're like, "Yeah, we heard of this place opening up north. We didn't know where it was. I mean, typical 19-year-olds.
Sure,
right?
sure.
So we just hopped in the truck and went, and we found it at the very tip of the UP.
Just saturated with girls.
The Marquette.
No, north of Houghton Lake, or Houghton.
Houghton.
Yeah, I know. So it was up by, is it Copper Harbor?
Yeah.
Yep. So
Yeah,
it was
the
up there.
Keweenaw.
Yeah, it was way up there, and lo and behold, we find it, and it's all black diamonds, double black diamonds, triple black diamonds. We're like, bring it on.
That's awesome.
But contrary to everybody at the table, I don't golf. I'm not really a golfer.
We're trying to get you though. We're trying to get you into it.
I play softball, and I run 2 nonprofit veteran organizations, Vet Sports and 92 for 22, giving back to my brothers. They need it.
Thanks for making us look bad, bro.
The guys that don't like to ever ask for help, we help them.
That's awesome.
You made a huge difference in 92 for 22.
Yeah,
Huge difference.
it's we're going in the right direction, definitely. I mean, you got to be willing to fail, and we failed miserably numerous times, and we found out the hard way. So now we have board members that, I mean, the stats on women veterans who have been sexually abused is absurd, and we didn't realize it. So when we had somebody reach out to us about a female vet that needed help, they're like, just to warn you, she doesn't like guys. I'm like, oh no, I got it. Combat vets, we got it. Yeah. Oh no, she hated guys, and we couldn't have any conversations. We're like, shit, what are we gonna do? So we brought on a female combat vet. All right, and then we have a reservist who was discharged because of a bad back. Just expanding because all these different scenarios that go on, you can't cover them all, but we try to cover all of our bases.
Sure.
Don't quit till you solve the problem. Right?
That's awesome, man. Well, good for you. I'm glad everybody's got something they do. Sometimes we get so immersed into this business that you got to detach and do something
Balance,
else. So
baby.
it sounds like everybody else has it. Well, I want to thank everyone. This has been awesome. This has been really good.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it.
The one constant in the mortgage industry is that we continue to whine. So
Cheers.
cheers to everyone. And thanks for coming, guys.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, guys.